Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to the NFC East and the Washington Commanders lately, you know that the offseason has been quite a roller coaster. The team has been making some strategic moves, some solid, some questionable, and others that are still very much up in the air. But one thing is clear. The Commanders are trying to rebuild, retool, and position themselves for a serious shot at competing at the highest level once again. And that means every move, every signing, and every decision counts, especially when it comes to roster spots, player health, and how the team's future shapes up. Recently, one of the more talked about stories is the signing of Michael Gallup, a wide receiver who, up until a few weeks ago, seemed to be on the verge of fading out of the NFL entirely. It's a move that's been met with mixed feelings from fans and analysts alike. You see, Gallup's story is quite intriguing because he's a player with talent, with flashes of brilliance, but also with hurdles that could prove to be major obstacles in his attempt to make a comeback. So let's dive into what's really happening with Gallup, what it could mean for the Commanders, and why this situation is so complex. First of all, it's important to understand the context. Gallup was once a key piece for the Dallas Cowboys, a reliable target for Dak Prescott, someone who could stretch the field and make those big plays when needed. His production was solid, and he had carved out a decent reputation as a dependable receiver in the league. But then, injuries started to pile up. A series of hamstring issues, including the one that kept him sidelined during the recent minicamp, seriously hampered his momentum. The Cowboys, facing a roster crunch and with younger, cheaper options emerging, decided to part ways with Gallup. His departure wasn't a surprise, but what was surprising was that he chose to step away from the game entirely rather than fight for a spot with the Las Vegas Raiders, who showed some interest but perhaps didn't offer what he was hoping for. Now, after a year away from the game, Gallup has decided to give it another shot. He's been given an opportunity by the Washington Commanders, a team that's eager to add depth and experience to their receiving core. But here's where things get tricky. Gallup's no longer the player who was putting up 1-0-yard seasons. He's coming off a significant injury and a year of rust. The Commanders, smartly, aren't rushing him onto the field. They've been cautious, especially given that he didn't participate in the team's mandatory minicamp, citing a hamstring strain. It's a smart move, really. You don't want to rush a guy back only to see him re-injure himself and derail all your hopes for him contributing this season. This injury concern has naturally raised eyebrows among fans. Many wonder if Gallup's comeback story will even get off the ground. The competition at wide receiver is fierce, with guys like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel already establishing themselves as key pieces in the offense. Noah Brown's injury during the offseason only adds to the scramble, giving other players a chance to step up. Gallup's familiarity with head coach Dan Quinn's system and his previous chemistry with Prescott were seen as advantages. But right now, his health is the biggest hurdle. The NFL is a game of timing and availability, and if Gallup can't get healthy and prove he still has that spark, his chances of making the roster diminish rapidly. Fans should keep in mind that the Commanders are in a bit of a rebuilding phase. They had a relatively solid season last year, finishing with an 8-1 record, but they're hungry for more. They want to push into playoff territory, and that means every position has to be competitive. The wide receiver group will be crucial for their success, especially with some uncertainty around their top targets. McLaurin is the star, no doubt, but they need reliable depth. Jahan Dotson showed promise as a rookie, but consistency is still the name of the game. Curtis Samuel has been a versatile weapon, but injuries have hampered his impact. And now, the question is whether Gallup can come back from his injuries, adapt quickly, and contribute in a meaningful way. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. But let's not forget, the NFL is a league where stories of redemption and second chances are part of the fabric. Gallup's story could turn out to be one of those feel-good narratives, a player who faced adversity, took time away, and is now fighting to prove he still belongs. The question is, how quickly can he get back in game shape? How well can he integrate into this new team system? And perhaps most importantly, will his body hold up? Because if the hamstring issues persist or return, his chances of making a meaningful contribution this season will be severely limited. From the Commanders' perspective, they're not investing a huge amount in Gallup, a low-risk, potentially high-reward move. It's a gamble that could pay off if he manages to stay healthy and regain his form. But it's also a gamble that could backfire if injuries continue to plague him. Right now, the team is in a wait-and-see mode, monitoring his recovery and hoping he can get onto the field in time for training camp. The real test will come when the pads go on and the games begin. Can Gallup shake off the rust quickly? Can he re-establish the chemistry with quarterbacks and show that he's still got that big play ability? Those are the questions that fans and analysts alike are asking. What makes this entire situation so compelling is that it's not just about Gallup's individual story. It's about what his potential resurgence could mean for the Commanders' offense. Washington has been looking to develop a more dynamic passing game, especially under new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Adding a receiver with Gallup's skill set, if he's healthy and motivated, could provide a much-needed boost. He's the type of player who can stretch the field, create mismatches, and open up opportunities for McLaurin and Dotson underneath. But all of that hinges on his health and readiness. Fans should also keep in mind that the NFC East is a brutal division. Every team is poised to make a playoff push, and the Commanders know that every game and every roster spot counts. The competition for the final receiver spots is fierce, with veterans and young players battling it out. Gallup's story is a microcosm of the larger battle that's happening, a fight for relevance, for a roster spot, and ultimately for a chance to contribute to a team with big ambitions. Looking ahead, the expectations are mixed but hopeful. Some see Gallup as a long shot, a player who might find it hard to regain his previous form after such a long layoff and injury setbacks. Others see the potential for a breakout, especially if he can stay healthy and find his rhythm quickly. The coaching staff seems to be optimistic but cautious, giving him the time he needs to prove himself. The coming weeks will be critical. Training camp will be the first real test of his physical condition, his mental resilience, and his ability to adapt. In the grand scheme of things, this situation is emblematic of what makes the NFL so unpredictable and exciting. It's a league where opportunities are scarce, and every player's journey is filled with hurdles. Gallup's comeback trail is a perfect example of that. Will he rise above the challenges? Will he earn his spot on the 53-man roster, and who knows, maybe even become a key contributor in the upcoming season? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The story of Michael Gallup's return is one to watch closely, especially for Washington Commanders fans who love a good redemption story and a chance to see one of their own step back into the spotlight. As we look ahead to training camp and the start of the season, the focus will be on health, conditioning, and how quickly Gallup can integrate into this new team environment. The Commanders are eager to see if this gamble pays off, and fans are rightfully hopeful. The NFC East is wide open, and every little piece counts when it comes to building a playoff contender. Gallup's journey is just beginning, and it's going to be fascinating to see if he can make the most of this second chance. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Do you believe Gallup can turn things around and become a valuable weapon for Washington? Or do you think injuries will be too much of a hurdle? Whatever your thoughts, we love engaging with you, and your feedback always makes this community stronger. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more deep dives into everything happening with the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting our team through thick and thin because, at the end of the day, we're all part of this incredible fan family.